How many of us wants to be worthy?
Oh, yeah.
I want to be worthy, don't you? I appreciate him. As Toby was teaching, my mind went back to a few months ago. I don't know when. They could look it up. But I preached out of Revelation chapter 5. And there's so many times each one of us has battled the same battles.
Come on.
And as I preached last Sunday night, touched on it again Wednesday night, he's been where we are.
Oh, yeah.
And that was part of his job.
Yeah.
See, he came to this world to walk the path that you and I would walk so he could make a way.
Yes.
And I appreciate him for that.
Oh, yes.
But so many times the enemy has told me, and I know that he's told you, you pray and you don't see anything or feel anything or hear anything. And so many times you think, boy, your adversary, the Bible said your adversary, the devil, he's right there.
Oh, sure.
And he says, God don't care nothing about you, and God's not listening. Oh, one day I was reading, and so many times us preachers do the same thing. We overlook little nuggets in the Word of God.
Sure.
And I've been praying about something, and the devil has been aggravating me. But listen, I was in Revelation chapter 5. Go back there just for a minute. In closing, I'm not going to hold you, but just a few minutes. Going to mind the Lord. Want to give an invitation. How many of you, if I was to ask you to lift your hands, how many of you has felt like in times past that the Lord didn't hear your prayer?
Sure.
That your prayer didn't leave a room? I got some assurance for you.
Come on, Richard.
I don't know if all of you noticed it this morning, but in chapter 5, verse 8. But I tell you what, there's a time in heaven, Terry Joe, that the Lord tells the angels, he said, I want you to go get some of them vials.
Yeah.
In other words, I call them vases. Go get some of them vases and bring it in here. Let's read verse 8 again. When he had taken the book, the 4 beasts and the 24 elders fell down before the Lamb, having every one of them harps and golden vials full of odors. What's the next line say? Which are the prayers of the saints. Think about that, Leaky. Well, I tell you what, our prayers are stored up in heaven.
Yes.
And they're poured out around the throne of God.
Come on, Richard.
And I'm glad. Blessed be the name of the Lord.
Amen, Richard.
I'm glad that he heard my prayer.
Yes.
I'm telling you, I'm glad that he endured. I'm glad that he endured. I was talking to a gentleman not long ago, and there's a big controversy. Folks has got to know the details so much they make it complicated. And this group has been researching and arguing for years about, some even said that the crown of thorns that they put on Jesus' head, they say that there were poisonous thorns, and they pricked his skin and the poison entered his bloodstream and it killed him. Some was arguing and saying no, it was a piercing of the side where the blood and the water run out that killed him.
Come on.
Some has got a side that argues. When my dad was just a young boy, he stepped on a rusty nail and he got blood poisoning and he made him have a crippled foot. Some was arguing and saying that the rusty nails is what killed him.
Come on,
I tell you, nothing killed Jesus.
you're right.
He laid his life down.
Yes.
I can have life. If you go down, I don't know what your habits are on Sunday afternoon. Mine is, I go home and change. I go to my mother-in-law's and get the newspaper. I opened it up, and I'll open it up and I'll look at the obituaries. And if I see somebody I know, always look down. And if it's a surprise to me, you know, if I'll look down to the bottom of usually the first paragraph, and it'll say, he died suddenly of a heart attack.
Yeah.
Or he died due to injuries he received in an automobile accident.
You're right.
And more you hear of it more and more today, more than you used to. And I don't know the exact laws in when and when not do they do an autopsy. But they'll do the autopsy to determine what killed the individual. They could autopsy
Come on, Richard. Come on, preacher.
That's right.
for 1,000,000 years.
Yeah.
And they won't find the cause of his death till they read it.
Oh,
Listen.
yes.
I'm church, I'm the cause of death this morning. Jesus Christ so loved me.
Yes.
God so loved me that he gave Jesus his only son.
Sure.
Let me tell you a quick story I shared with the church. Back many years ago, this is in history books. I should know more history than I do. There was an English statesman by the name of William Gladstone. He stepped into Parliament one day and he said, "Could I have your attention?" He said to all the crowd. He said, "I've got a sad announcement to make." Everybody got quiet. Mr. Gladstone stood before the Parliament. He said, "Ladies and gentlemen, Princess Alice has died." Oh, sadness went all over the crowd. He said, "For those of you that don't know, it was her own fault that she died." Said a lot of you knows that her little boy a few months ago contracted the dreadful disease of diphtheria. All of you know that diphtheria is a terrible disease, and when somebody's got diphtheria, don't go around it. And this will be a lesson to all of you. He said Princess Alice knew better and knew that it was highly contagious. When the physicians told Alice that her son had diphtheria, said, "Alice, don't go around it." Listen to me, church. He said Princess Alice couldn't stand the pressure. Since it went several days, the baby laid there and cried. Alice would say, "Honey, what do you need? Do you need a drink of water?" "Not thirsty." Said, "Honey, do you need something to eat?" "Not hungry." "Honey, do you need a blanket?" "I'm not cold." "What do you need?"
Come on.
"I need you to hug me, Mommy."
Come on.
She told him time after time, she said, I can't. Mommy's got to stay healthy to take care of you." Said one night through his tears and through his anguish, "Church, listen to
Come
me.
on, Richard.
Boys, the world can say what they want,
Come on.
and I'll not change the world. I've learned a lot since I started preaching. There's a lot of times a Christian and a preacher has got to bite their tongue.
Yes.
You're not going to change the world.
Hey.
But what you're going to do is let your light so shine that those in darkness may see.
Oh, yes.
I wanted to line people out, and I wanted to give them a piece of my mind. But told me, listen to me, I don't care what the world says. I don't care what they do. Cause of death, boy, I'll tell you what. God Almighty looked down through the ages of time.
Sure.
He heard my cry, and he heard the cry that I would make. I don't know about you.
Amen.
You fall under the same category as I do. But I tell you what, he seen that day that Richard Harold would be in such misery and strife, discontent. But I tell you what, no hope, Jeremy. Yes, sir. He seen that I need arms put around me. Yes, sir. He seen that I need lifted up and loved when nobody else would love me. Because he seen that I would need forgiveness when I wasn't worthy of forgiveness. He seen that I needed love when I was. Preacher, you getting loud in front of our business. I can't help it. Yes, sir. I'm at Father's house. I'm getting food all over me and don't.
Come on, preacher.
Said that baby, Jeremy, said, Mommy, please hug me. One night she couldn't stand it. She said, no, it kills me. I'll give him what he wants. I'll show him that I love him. And he won't have to die. Listen to me. He won't have to die alone.
Yes. Praise his holy name.
Said Princess Alice held that little boy in her arms as he took his last breath.
Come on, Richard.
Knowing that it was going to kill her.
Yes.
He didn't die alone.
Amen. Yes.
Man, that sounds like a familiar scripture or a familiar story. Yes, sirree. Jesus knew it was going to cost his life, but he didn't want Richard Harold to die alone. I'm not going to die alone. I'm dying in the arms of Jesus.
Amen. Yes. Bless his holy name.
I was talking to a friend of mine this week. A shameful time of my life, I turned my back, walked away from God. There wasn't a day through the years that I was backslidden
Come on, Richard.
that thought didn't cross my mind.
Yeah.
Boy, you don't have to die alone.
No.
I took your sin.
Amen.
I took your sin.
Lord is.
I took it upon myself. But you don't have to die alone.
You're right.
Told me if I stand in judgment on my own, I'll be doomed for hell. Boy, it's because the blood of Jesus Christ, God's Son, who cleanses me from all unrighteousness.
Yes.
When I stand in judgment, it won't be me, but it'll be the blood
Yes.
of somebody that loves me.
Yes.
Stand if you would.
Yes.
Every head bowed and every eyes closed. You here today, I don't know your heart, but God does. I do know one thing. I've been around the presence of God enough to know that He's speaking to somebody right now. You know that we don't practice trying to drag somebody to an altar. We don't practice embarrassing people. But what we do practice is letting you know that Jesus Christ loves you regardless of your past. And if you'll cry out to Him, He'll not turn a deaf ear towards you. And I urge you, if the Lord's speaking to you right now, make your way as quick as you can to this altar. Because today could be your last opportunity and your last privilege to find Jesus. This could be your last chance to get your life straight. And I'd say that you take advantage of the opportunity that's set before you. I don't care what you've done. I don't care where you've been. He'll forgive you if you come to Him with a broken heart and a contrite spirit. I ask you to come. I ask you to come. Zach, I'd like for you to sing that song. He's still sitting my place at the table. I'd like for the Christians to pray. Stay focused on this invitation. We've had a wonderful service this morning. But this is the most important part of the whole morning right now, the invitation.
It's amazing I never saw till today how foolish, son, I have been. Somehow he knows the prodigal son has come home. I lost everything I had to find out what I needed, had all along. Now I'm leaving this place. I want to see my Father's face, hear Him say, son, welcome home. I was still a great ways from my Father's house.
Why don't you come
He
right
came
now?
running to greet his lost son. I said, your servant I'll be, oh, but he never heard me. He said, my prodigal son has come home. Now he's still setting my place at the table.
Yeah, still calling your name.
He's still calling my name in prayer. But now I'm in the right place. I'm just a trophy of His grace. The prodigal son has come home. Now I'm in the right place. I'm just a trophy of grace. The prodigal son has come home.
Heavenly Father, we come before you. End of each invitation has got a sad note. And sometimes I've thought, Lord, it's going to be something like the end of time. When the door of mercy is shut, it reminds me of when an invitation is over and folks has refused your call. Lord, I ask right now as we agree in prayer one more time at the close of this invitation, at the close of this service, help someone, Lord, while we're in agreement in prayer. The body of the church this morning is in one mind and one accord. Give somebody the courage right now as the prayers of the saints surrounds every individual in this building. Give somebody the courage right now to step out of their seat, make their way to the altar. Give them that courage right now. Help them to see, Lord, it's all that matters is how they stand with you. Those that's away from you, those that separated themselves, oh, bless the Lord. Come on, Lakey. Lakey. Praise the Lord. Glory to God. Some more of you come. God's still speaking. Why don't you come? Glory. Glory, glory, glory. Somebody else needs to come.
How deep the Father's love for us.
Glory to God.
How vast beyond all measure.
Somebody else needs to come. Why don't you come?
That He should give His only Son.
Oh, blessed be the
And
name
make
of the Lord.
a wretch His treasure. How great the pain of searing loss. The Father turned His face away as wounds which mar the chosen.
God,
His
through all of our
sons
sin,
to
Lord, through all of our failures, Lord, and all of our mistakes. You
Behold the man upon the
Oh,
cross,
blessed be your name forever.
my sin upon his shoulders.
All of them days, Lord, that I
Ashamed, I hear my mocking
you
voice
still put angels round
call
about me, Lord.
out among
Oh,
his
how many
stars.
times, Lord, did you protect me?
It was my sin that held him
Oh, you
there
love me, Lord, and why
until it was
why you
accomplished.
didn't want to see your baby go to
His
hell?
dying breath hath brought me life.
God, I pray right now,
I
Lord,
know
as my
that
brother
it
said,
is
Lord, he's
finished.
coming back home, Lord. I just ask you, Lord, I know
I will not boast in
I was in his
anything.
place one time, Lord.
No
Oh,
peace,
that
no power, no
son, Lord,
wisdom.
that father said, kill that
I will boast in
bring that
Jesus
robe
Christ,
and bring that room, that
his
ring.
death and resurrection.
We praise you.
So why should I gain from his reward? I cannot give an answer,
Help him to see.
but this I know with all my heart.
Put the dead on his place.
His wounds have paid my ransom.
I'm going back home to Father's house. We praise you, Lord.
Why should I gain from his
Blessed be
reward?
your name forever. Blessed.
I cannot give an answer.
We lift you up, Lord.
Oh, but this I know with all my heart.
We praise you. We praise you.
His wounds have paid my ransom.
Father, we love you.
How deep the Father's love for us.
Lord, I don't know why you
How vast beyond all measure
Hallelujah forever, Lord.
that he should give his only
You've
Son
been so good to us, Lord.
and make rich his treasure.
Ask you, Lord, that you bless Juby, Lord. Bless his wife. Bless his home. Bless his children. Lord, I just pray, Lord, that you put a shield round about them, Lord. God, that they would be an example to their community, Lord, and to their friends. Look what God can do. Look what God can do. Look how God can restore. Look how God can restore. Blessed be. Thank you.